right?
I'm serious, man. I'm serious. I don't want to call the guy out, you know, but just be careful if y'all ain't talking. Hit your mute button and make sure the camera, you know.
So somebody was on my call, butt naked. Okay,
yes. Last night.
He took trading naked to an extreme.
Last night, yeah. Because I'm like, I kind of was looking at him. I know he's not paying attention, so I didn't know if he knew if his camera was on or not. I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to draw attention to it if I was the only one that seen it, you know.
Oh dear God. Okay, so I'm guessing you saw that guy's name then, huh?
Yes. I don't want to call him out, but yes.
So yeah, let's honor the gentleman and say, hey guys, we are all in our homes. Some of us have no makeups on and no bras on, and like we have our moments and all that good jazz. But like especially coming in the coming weeks, we're gonna have cameras on a lot more often. So be mindful. Like, and if you guys see something that's a little indecent, we might not know we accidentally turn our camera back on. So maybe DM them and be like, yo, your key is showing, so we need to cover that up, pack it up. So,
at least he could wear a tie.
I'm having a bad hair day, so y'all got to forgive me.
He won't wear hair day. See it. That's scary itself.
Seriously, man, I'm telling you, you guys have no better put some clothes on. Okay, I'm telling you. Somebody comes on my call and I'm like, oh God. Okay, well, thank you for telling me, Brian, because I clearly didn't see it. I'm looking at my charts. My stuff's usually turned off if it's even on my VPS, so I wouldn't see it. So.
Yeah, he was totally. I mean,
I really want to know the name. I really do.
I know, like 90% of me wants to ask because I want to laugh with him. I don't want to laugh at him. I just want to laugh with him. But the other 10% of me wants to be more modest and say, okay, let's let him save some face. And he knows he took a shower last night, so he knows he was running around in his skimpies.
Hey, I got one thing for you. He had on a blue and white shirt last night.
Guys, that doesn't tell me nothing. Come on, you're just like dropping hints and nothing.
That's one way for everybody to watch the replay.
Oh no, there's a replay. Okay, wait, guys, I might have to take that down to honor him. Does that come up on the replay?
Now,
I don't know.
Now, you know they shouldn't have said that about Elvis. I'm joking. I'm lying.
You guys. Okay, no, hey, Brian, message me. So guys, when you watch these replays, can you see people's cameras?
Yes.
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 Oh, yes.
Really? Guys, I'm gonna take that down.
Yeah, but you know what? Likely, Janet, if you didn't see it like come up on your cameras, you know, because we each could be looking at something different as far as the cameras at any given time. So if it didn't come up on your cameras and you were the one recording, then you won't see it. If you want to, fast forward through or something so you can go look. I mean, sure, but
everyone's gonna be looking for some indecencies on last night's, and that was a long call. Okay. Seriously.
I doubt it came up. I doubt it picked up. If you didn't actually see it, I doubt it came up.
I didn't see it, but like I can get flagged on YouTube for having like nude people up on here.
No,
if you go to the Telegram channel and type in nude trader, he might come up.
Okay, so now that the topic tonight is naked trading, evidently. And that's what we're going to go over and over, let me tell you.
All right.
Okay, we won't pick anymore. So, Ricky, yeah, if that was you. Was that you, Ricky? Come on, tell the truth.
That was not
I'm just picking on you. I am. What were you wearing last night? Do you have any proof of this? I mean.
Blue white shirt.
Okay, I will make fun. Well, and somebody had messaged in terms of like how to take a trade. I don't know if this gentleman is on here or what his name was exactly. Like how to take a trade for a buy or sell. Are you there?
I'm here. I'm on there.
Hey, what's your name? Is it AJ?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Hey guys, make sure your Zoom names and your Telegram names are your proper names because we're gonna have to be able to see who that is. So. So you're pretty new to trading. Tell me a little bit. You don't know how to take a trade on MT4, or what is it you want to learn?
What I want to learn is like, say, I'm looking at a stock and everything's looking good. What I don't know what to do is when to actually enter that trade. As far as like, I'm using the triple arrows concept, but when I enter the buy, for example, when I put in my bids then and just let it take its course, or same thing for the sell side. Like,
So
how do
I'm guessing you kind of came from a binary stock trading, background. Is that right?
I'm new to this. I'm learning, so
Okay, so we trade Forex for the most part. There are some people who use these systems on stocks. I'm not one of them, but the concept is the same, but the fundamentals are extremely different. So what we're looking at is a chart. So whether or not this was CAD Swiss, okay, this is the Canadian dollar versus the Swiss franc. And let's go down to like an Apple stock, tried and true, right? No matter what we're looking at, it's essentially the same thing. I mean, we're not going to have the currency strength to go off of, granted. But as you can see, this will reload, way more gaps in the stock market. So are you talking about trading stocks specifically, or was that just the word that you used?
it was just a word.
Okay.
I'm doing the Forex market.
Okay. Well, then to stick with the Forex market, I know GBP Swiss was moving pretty well. We're hoping that it breaks through. So let's go to this one. If it breaks through, we shall see.
I can't see your screen.
People say you can't see the screen.
Maybe YouTube or Zoom just like cut me off from all that naked talk or something. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Go me. Share. Can you see it now? I wasn't sharing yet. There we go. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So right now I'm on GBP Swiss. I did go to Apple real quick, but that's super not necessary if we're just going to talk about Forex. Like depending on what strategy you're looking to use, right? You know, what time frame do you want to be a swing trader, or do you want to be a scalper, or you know which one of the strategies are you looking to use mostly?
Swing.
Perfect. That's my guy. So like you would be looking mostly at the 4-hour chart. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, it's kind of getting really silly and slow for a minute. Let me just make sure. I don't know why it's getting bigger. That's so silly. Well, it's smaller, I meant. Okay, so we're on GBP Swiss, right? If we were looking at a swing trade based off of the triple arrow system, sorry, it's being a little silly and slow. Lord only knows why. There we go. I'm going to refresh the chart. You guys will notice that these yellow dots kind of move. You guys see that happen in real time? So what we would be looking for is, well, obviously, what's the name of the system, AJ?
Say that one more time.
What's the name of the system? Like, what's the name of this? The triple arrows, right?
Yeah, the triple arrows.
Yep. So what we're looking for first and foremost, if you're going for a swing trade, is our triple arrows. We want to see what direction they're going, right?
Right.
Now, we take that bit of information and we combine it with other information. Now, I don't know what's on your chart specifically. We don't need all this on my chart. Here, I'll delete this just for the sake of room. But either way, we have other oscillators, indicators to help us kind of confirm that entry, because we don't want to take anything just based off of those, because 2 of them repaint. The little one only repaints very infrequently, but it does technically repaint. So having said that, we take these set of indicators, the big arrow, little arrow, and the 5 and 13 cross, which is the yellow arrow. And now we're looking for other confirmations to tell us when to get in. I just deleted the MACD primarily for the purpose of visual confirmation, but either way, in this case, on this chart, based off of this setup of rules. So we have to be kind of specific when we're talking here. What I would want to see to take this as a buy is I'd want to see my daily dots, my 4-hour dots, my triple arrows. So now we have 5 confirmations up here. My 8 and 18 crossover, or you can, if you're using the money tree string line, which I really like a lot, then you would have that change in the color, right? The color of that line would change. So now you're at 6 confirmations on the top of your chart. The safest entry is when it breaks the 50, and that's 7. This white line is our 50 EMA. You can also wait till it breaks a trend line. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so here's a trend line. Just imagine I'm drawing it kind of where that white line is. And once it breaks it and then retest, that would be 8. You also want an engulfing kind of momentum candle. That would be 9. And now we're going to move down to our oscillators. We have a crossover of who's in charge, or who's in power. So our buyers now are in power and our momentum is high, because you need your momentum high or the market's not moving. Hence the reason it's stalling out right now, because we have no momentum. So either way, this is 10. So we have a crossover, our buyer side plus momentum is up on the ADX. We also can use anything from RSI to MACD, depending on what's on your chart. But right now, let's talk about the Renko maker confirmations. It's just slightly cleaner than the MACD, but I still like it, and it's good. So obviously right here, we're saying buyers are in control, and they're still in control. So now we're at, what is that, 11? This purple line I have kind of in this big mess is my RSI, and that is above the 50, so that's 12. And then of course, I use currency strength meters. There's a lot of them out there. Unfortunately, this one is no longer free, but there are other versions, even in those other versions are the ones I used originally. They're really good. They're a little messier, but they're good. So either way, now that's what, 13, is that right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So far we have 13 confirmations on this chart alone, right?
Right.
Obviously we can use the break of the fractal, and we can add or take away whatever we want. But for me to decide to take this trade, I would want, say, 9 of those confirmations or 10 of those confirmations to say, I'm willing to take this trade. And
So
that is how I would know to take the buy.
So for you, you have to have at least 10 or more confirmations before you take it?
Yeah, it depends on what strategy I'm using, but for like my 4-hour strategy, yes. I mean, so let me go to a different chart setup to show you.
Now, say if you was doing the 30-minute time frame, would you still have that same strategy?
Sorry. If I was doing the 30-minute time frame, yeah. So this is a different chart, right? On this one, I took off the buy-sell lines, and I had the lines on here. I had actually the daily on here, only the daily, not the 4-hour. But again, same concept. So even if it wasn't necessarily in the same direction as the big arrow, but it was in the same direction as the daily, I would take that. So on this chart alone, which the daily should have been on here, I'm not sure why it's not, but we would have 1, 2, 3, and then when price breaks on the MACD, I count that as another one. So that's 4. Buyers are in control, that's 5. Little arrow, yellow arrow is 6, 7. 8 and 18 crossover is 8. Wow, I had to think. And then of course we can just keep adding. So on this chart, I would need at least 7 or 8 confirmations before I would take this trade.
Okay.
And it makes it pretty simple because your odds of being wrong are slim.
Right.
Very, very slim. Now your only chance of losing comes down to your ability to manage the trade. And then of course, whether or not you're taking the faster entry, less drawdown, and tighter stop loss, but less accurate. So on any strategy that you're using, there's 2 different entries. One of them is faster, slightly less accurate, tighter stop loss, which kind of outweighs that the risk to reward ratio. It may or may not be better. That's a personal choice. And then you have your slower entry. The problem with the slower entry, obviously, is your stop loss is generally larger, and obviously your entry is later. So for instance, if you wanted to wait to the break of this previous fractal as an example, and that was one of your rules, usually when price breaks a fractal, it almost always pulls back. Almost always. Not always, like if you're scalping, but almost always. So depending on whether you take the fast or the slow entry is up to you. But when you follow all the rules and then pick a chart, pick your favorite. So I don't care what they are. And I can tell you how to use them. As long as you're not using them in an overbought, oversold way, and you're using them as a trend confirmed way, so like the break of the 50, like fully confirmed in terms of momentum and in terms of power, then yeah, you'll be massively accurate. Does that help you understand when to take a trade?
Yeah, like it helps a lot.
Pretty simple. If you wanted to use this on the 30-minute time frame, same rules, same concept. I mean, you have to understand, you have to know what you're doing though, because clearly you're on a 30-minute time frame. Your odds of it just being a pullback and not a trend reversal are very high, right? This looks like an upside down crown. You guys see that? So So the chances, either way, there's all those patterns and stuff people say are important. Who knows if they really are? We all think we see stuff and then say, oh my gosh, this is everything. But be wary on the smaller time frames. Usually on a smaller time frame, it's almost, I don't want to say this concretely, but I think it's usually better to take the faster entry. And the reason why is because your odds of it only being a pullback before it blasts off as a continuation are very high. So if you're still trying to make that money on a pullback or a small, and this of course isn't a good example, but on the small move, like something like this, just in case it wasn't an actual trend change or something, you're going to get your pips quickly enough before it takes off the other direction.
Okay, I got you.
Does that help you see it a little better, maybe?
Yeah, I do.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm glad you could pop on. Guys, I can't see the chat for some reason, so if anybody can, oh, there we go. There it is. DJ posted in the Telegram. Who's been backtesting the Renko maker?
I don't know, but I've been looking for it.
Hey, Helen, I think if you're totally free and 100% one with yourself, you will probably be a much better trader. I'm saying, make sure your blinds are shut though. Sorry, I'm reading the chat real quick. Yeah, I know, right? This house has way too many windows. I'm already going outside like in like really boy shorts kind of thing, and there's a swimming pool, so like I'm running around and it's hot here, so it's, you got a reason to be half naked with all due respect. But I don't usually go like to the store like that. I'm very modest. Like I would have my dress long enough, you know, I'm pretty covered up properly. So anyways, so let's see. DJ, you've been backtesting the Renko maker. I've been comparing it to the MACD. Have you seen the kind of comparison in that and how that works?
Yes, I have. It looks like it's a little faster than the MACD when it comes to the zero line cross.
Much faster. So look, so the thing about the MACD is it's going to give you this crossover, the fast entry. This is almost always in line with that. But at the same time, it's going to show us this play down a little better. This may or may not be a great one because this would have been a false positive. However, it kind of takes out a lot of the noise because you only have one confirmation. You only have one.
So what I've been noticing during my back tests is it's really effective if you use it in conjunction with the histograms on the MACD. So if you're looking for a buy, just make sure the histograms are above the zero line and it's more of a confirmed move.
Well, look right here. This right here still would have been a false signal because look at the histograms.
Yeah, it's not 100%, but it seems like most of the time it works.
Yeah, I thought that too, and then I tested it, and I was like, okay, so how do I avoid this? I'm never looking for what tells me to take the signal. I'm looking for the part that tells me not to take the bad signal. I mean, that's kind of how I test stuff anymore. So this is kind of the thing that I'd be looking to try to avoid because my 8 and 18 would have crossed. We would have even broke this fractal. This would have been a losing trade no matter how you looked at it because our arrows were pointing up. I'm sure we had 4-hour support, if not daily as well, and I'm sure it busted through. This could have been news induced in all fairness, but either way.
And you know how I feel about the ADX line, the white line, how I don't really use it, but that would have kept you out that trade, admittedly. So
yeah, that's one of the reasons I have it because it really, I don't have access to the currency strength meter on my phone, number one. And number two, that momentum line, it keeps you out of the nasties. Like it keeps you out of the uglies in terms of the trading world. So I like it.
Hey, Jenny, can you explain that fractal right quick?
Who's this talking?
This is Crypto FR.
What's your name?
Frank.
Okay. Hi, Frank. So you wanted to talk about fractals?
Yeah, I think I know what it is. I just want to confirm it.
So there's a couple ways to use them. I'm going to talk about the one that I know and like best. I'll tell you why it's great, and I'll tell you even why it potentially could be bad. I mean, this one's obviously the perfect move, but we have a fractal right here to the downside. I don't know, and I don't know enough in terms of how these fractals are formed. I know they're a very old indicator that was by Bill Williams. My understanding, it had something to do with the size of both candles around it, provided it didn't go higher or lower. But somebody said it's like an algorithm of sets of 5. So I'm not sure what makes them create, and I'm not sure that they repeat or not. I'm pretty sure they don't, and if not, they don't often. So get that whole disclaimer out of the way. Here's one way to use them is like this. We have a fractal to the downside. We're not sure what price is going to do. So we have a fractal to the upside, okay, and a fractal to the downside. What we'd be looking for is a breakout to break above that fractal level. And then we know price is going to continue up. So for a scalping strategy, like if price broke this level on a 1 hour chart, I mean, we're good for 10 pips, typically speaking, obviously on a tight spread broker, not on a no swap fee broker, not the same concept. So over here, this one obviously worked out perfect. This would be immediate entry. So price broke this fractal right here on this candle. And if we scroll down and we keep going down, we have an 8 and 18 crossover, big arrow, little arrow. Our momentum line is going up. Our sellers are in control. We rejected off the zero, which I find this to be very, very impressive. I like this move on the MACD. So we bounced back off of the zero. We're still saying sell on our filter. And now we have confirmation on our Renko maker, which is kind of new. I'm just kind of playing with it. I'm just playing with it. So having said that, we would take that pretty safely. You can continue to hold it until prices closes back above the 8 is how I would use it personally, if you're able to watch the charts. If you're not able to watch the charts, you would go for 10 pips or a very small amount of pips if you're going against the trend, or you'll let it run if you're going with the trend. So you would be doing a breakout mentality. Does that make sense?
Pretty much, yeah.
So another way to use it is, so right now, let's go to our triple arrow system. So right here, Vicky, we're in a buyer's market. We have our triple arrow saying buy, we're above the 50, breakout move, everything is good, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could take it again as price makes a higher high. So it broke this fractal, you take another trade, broke this fractal, take another trade, and so on all the way up. But when you're trending, when you're in a trending market, which you don't know that all the time, but when you know you're in a trending market, anytime price makes the bottom one, if you're in a buyer's market, this is, we're buying according to the triple arrows, you could take a trade based off of this appearing here. Again, take a buy. From here, you could take a buy. Even from here, you could take a buy, and so on. This is obviously ugly and undesirable, but same concept. The blessing about this one is you're confirmed going up. The negative about taking the same direction trades, to say it that way, so here's a top facing fractal and we break above it, is this is a late entry. It's comparable to a buy stop in terms of a pending order. The problem with that is a lot of times it'll make a higher high and then pull back first. And it's a late entry, but it's also a confirmed entry. Typically speaking, when price is moving this direction, it's definitely moving this direction. So once price made a higher high, you're definitely going to get some amount of pips out of it. But sometimes it'll make a higher high and do a pullback. The negative aspect about taking these ones to the opposite direction fractals is it can make a whole bunch of them like so and will not do anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. This white moving average you got, is that a 50?
Yes, sir. This is a 50 EMA. That's correct. 50, 0, exponential, set to close, white, kind of thick, and that's it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's pretty black and white in general. So this isn't a great chart. That's a 30. I prefer to use fractals on the 1 hour versus any other time frame. So that's how I use them. Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad that helps. Are there any other questions, comments, or charts you guys want to look at real fast?
Yeah, where did you find that Renko maker at?
DJ, can you post, with my permission, DJ can post it in the group. You guys were not supposed to be posting a lot of indicators in there because a lot of newbies are getting really thrown off. And in all fairness to them, I can only imagine it's overwhelming. It's a lot of information. So we're asking people not to post stuff in the group without mine or Pat's permission. I've tested this for, I don't know, I guess a week now, give or take. So I'm not like super a pro at it. I just like it. I don't know if I love it. I don't know if I would trade it in for my MACD, but I'm kind of comparing it to my MACD, which is a tried and true indicator. I don't think it's any better than or any less than. I just think it's slightly cleaner. So yeah. I like the concept of Renko candles. The only downfall, obviously, is they are not live candles. They're probably the only candle I would consider using aside from Japanese candles And I've played with all of them. Like, in theory, you know, the Heikinashi candles are great, but I can't see price action enough. So I like it in general for the basis that I like Renko. I like the way that Renko, the algorithm is made. But this is live as opposed to Renko candles being an offline chart. All Renko candles are offline charts. So,
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, who's this?
This is Everett. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. How are you?
Can you hear me a little better than other nights?
So I think that you're the one that's so nice. I just can't hear you. I can hear you perfectly clear tonight.
Okay, yeah, that's what happens when you take the night off.
Well, that's
Yeah.
getting some nice rest in or doing something cool.
I'll say that again.
Are you getting some nice relaxation in or doing something cool?
No, actually, I'm heading to your neck of the woods. I'm in the middle of packing up and getting ready to take off to Orlando. So
Nice.
yeah, we take off at 5 a.m. I think.
Oh, you have like a red-eye flight, those early morning flights?
Yeah, the early morning flight sucks, but you know, you want to get the most out of your day, so you got to do it, you know.
I feel you. Plus, like, they're the best time. I mean, you kind of have to almost stay up all night to check in and stuff, but it's the best time. So, but awesome. How can I help you?
Oh yeah, sure. So, the first, that currency strength meter that you got, I know that it's not a free indicator anymore, but I believe you said before that you started hitting around the 90th percentile of your trade when you started adding that currency strength meter to it, right?
Well, actually, wait, the one that I originally added was the one that's ugly. So here, let's go to a new chart. Not this one. Let's go to this one. So the one that I originally added, like, so my little pretty notebook, my comp notebook, in terms of what was making measurable differences, sorry, I can't talk. I just do this up here for fun, was actually this one. And this is still one of my favorites. It's just not very pretty to read.
Okay.
And what I did was I opened an entire chart by itself, and I had just this pulled up on it, and you're going to see why. So I'm going to make this really big. You guys will notice this looks like just a gaggle of a mess, and it is a gaggle of a mess. But yeah, this is still free. This is the original currency strength indicator that I used, and I got that made the biggest difference other than management techniques. This made the biggest difference in my triple arrow trades. It kept me on the trades that were not ready, period, across the board. So when everybody else, so we would get triple arrows here, I'm sure, or maybe at least the big arrow. We would get a big arrow. We would get a big arrow. But when don't have this crossover, and yeah, this is hard to use. It's hard to read more accurately. It's easy to use. But Euro NZD are the two pairs I have on this chart. So, oh, come on, silly butt. Hold on. Let's see. But whatever pair you have on the chart is going to be thicker in colors, like it's going to be the thicker lines.
Oh.
Can you see that?
Yeah, okay.
I don't know why it's not doing it now, but either way, so when you hold your mouse over it, it'll tell you what currency it is. So the blue one is the euro, greenback for dollar. This one actually makes more sense on the color spectrum, just so you know. But if I have Euro NZD on this chart now, and I drag on here, let's say something that's not on here, GBP CHF, you're going to see that those two lines are the ones that get thicker. So it's kind of much easier to read. You don't have the option to separate all the currencies like you do on the other one. But I promise you, like, so if you avoid this mess, right, that means you're looking for an actual crossover and then some space between them. You want it to have some space. Even this one, which isn't a super great move, you notice there's space between them, and then you get the actual move. This is a mess. This is too close, so we would stay out of it. You're going to avoid these kinds of trades.
Okay, so you want to move away from the zero line. You want to move away from the zero line.
Well, yeah, no, so check it out. Every currency pair is related to each other in a different way. So mind you, I'm just going to scroll back blindly just to kind of show you. I know it's hard to read for your eyes, but I promise you they'll adjust if your brain is adaptive, it's impressive, like it can do all things if you allow it to. So you can see these big moves come from big moves. So we originally, me and my buddy originally said we wanted above and below the zero, but we had to stop following that rule because you'll notice that some currency pairs have a cross, and that crossover is like way up here, but it's still separate, like this right here has a crossover and there's space between them, but it doesn't really get near the zero. And again, it has a crossover and there's space between them and it doesn't get near the zero. This is my least favorite pair. And if you look at how it moves, I know it's kind of hard on the eyes. The strength of the currencies are so closely related that I'm surprised there's a gap between them at all to trade. Like I despise this pair, but it's a good one for this example. So we have a crossover right here, perfect and clean. We're nowhere near the zero line, but there is space between there. So this would still be a safe trade to take. So what you're really looking for is the space in between.
Okay, perfect. So the one I like, now that you explained that one, because I think I have that one, but now that you explained it, it makes sense. I'm not gonna lie. When I've seen those two fat line, I'm like, these ones are broken. I tried to make them skinny. So,
No.
Thanks for clearing that up. Now you have one on your that you use now. I'm assuming it's because it's a little cleaner.
It's just easier to see, yeah. So and plus the chart over here, I'm not gonna fib, like I love that. But in terms of like which one happens the quickest or which one happens is more accurate, I still think this one is more accurate than the other one. I don't know. You'd have to have them both on your chart to kind of really understand it, but I still think this one's better.
Okay.
In terms of the value or the accuracy of the measuring the currency strength. The reason I like the other one again is because it has that pretty little chart right here, which also kind of tells me, hey, go check these trades, right? So this tells me to go check those trades, but we have other options. They're not our perfect, what chart was it? There we go. Let's see. It's not the perfect setup, but we have another way to kind of accommodate the same thing, which is what I was doing for a little while. If I can find it, maybe. Not there. There's a couple different versions of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one I have. I hope I've got the one that you've got on the screen. I just know it looks like that one. It's got the same kind of concept with all the controlled chaos.
So check it out. JPY is the strongest, Chief is the weakest. Let's see what our chart is telling us. This is just another version of the same thing. So in this case, the JPY, this has got CAD, US dollar, and then odd. JPY is not the strongest yet, but this is updated much more quickly. This is like by the minute. So this is a little bit different in terms of the calculation of it, but this works in a very comparable way. So you could use this along with this. But if you guys notice, the crossover typically lines up pretty well with that ADX. Not always, but when you see this super wide mouth, kind of think of the Hungry Alligator song or something from when you were a kid or what you sung to your kids. Like this big wide crossover, okay, is gonna line up with a big wide amount here. This mess is gonna line up with this mess.
Okay.
It's not 100%, but it's good though. If you guys can learn to correlate these things, you can take a lot of the things off your chart and make it easier mentally and emotionally to take the trades you want to take.
Okay. And then there's just the last question. The Renko, I wasn't present for last night's class, but I've seen that popped up and a friend of mine told me about it, and I'm like, you know what, I'm down with all things Jenny, so I went on ahead and downloaded it. And so I've got it. The only thing is I don't know when I should look for entry. Am I looking for the arrows or am I looking for some type of extra kind of like, because the way I was seeing it when I tried to back test it a little, is when the blocks were further away from the baseline, it seemed like a stronger entry, but I could be using this totally wrong.
Well, so guys, we learn by doing, and then that goes for me too. So like, I don't have a rule that says, hey, I'm only going to take the trade when there's one box above the line, although that might be a good move. I mean, because we wouldn't want to take this trade. But as you guys know, I'm just kind of playing with it still currently. So I like it for the fact that it's clean. So if I were to teach somebody who's super new and then they see the MACD and they can't understand it, they don't like it, then it might be a good asset to them. But take this one, for example, if you had waited too far, this, let's use our actual crossovers just for conversational purposes. This is where the arrow first and that first box popped up. So let's assume that whole hour passed by, you have this much of a move, which is a pretty good move. It's a GBP pair, so of course it's worth pips, but you don't have long to make the decision to enter.
Right.
So if you're going to trust this, you have to recognize, I mean, that's the only advice I would give you. So let's go back to the comparison between the MACD. Let's try to look up the same pair, if it will allow us to. So the same pair, we were looking at a buy, right? Whatever. That's not that one though. I probably won't find it now. Oh, let's go to 1 hour, sorry. So we were looking at this one, right? Maybe. Either way, we'll use it just for this.
Okay.
So watch. The thing is, we're on the 1 hour chart, same concept. This is our fast entry when this crosses over. So this crossover technically happened before this happened, just so you guys know. So it's faster in terms of waiting for the zero line. So this is where the crossover happened on the MACD. And then of course we have a baby amount of volume on the top, like barely visible. That happened on this candle, which would have given us plenty of time to get our 20 pips and get out. If we waited for just for a price to break above this line on the Renko maker, we had time, but again, assuming we get it at the very end, we don't have much time because they immediately reversed. The cool thing about the MACD is notice how we never broke the zero. So we would have stayed out of this trade, maybe to our benefit, but maybe to our deficit, depending on how we're trading and what we value. So we didn't actually break the zero line till here. This would be the safe trade, and I promise you, this is where the real money is at. So you see, we broke here, now we've got the real move. So this would have had us taking a baby move, and again, we potentially could make money only if we trust it immediately. So that's probably the only advice I would give you is if you're going to trust it, you have to trust it immediately, because anything later, you could potentially be playing a pullback versus a move.
Okay, and that's kind of funny you say that. It's kind of thorn. Like I'll see, like the MACD will cross over, but it'll do it before the. Sometimes, like the example that you just gave, that action happened before it actually crossed the 50. And then now the Renko saying, hey, yup, I agree that there's action happening before the 50 and everything takes place before it actually crosses. I would rather wait until it crosses the 50, but at the same time, in doing that, you get less entries. And I'm fine with the less entries. It only concerns me when I look at, I'm like, okay, my 550 week goal, I'm getting less. Yeah, this was a good move, but it's like the only move I took in the last 48 hours because I'm waiting for all the confirmations. Whereas I'd get more entries if I didn't wait for the 50, but those are more dangerous. And I'd rather stay out than jump into risky.
That's what it comes down to, personal preference. But I mean, so this move was a good move, but so is this. There's nothing wrong with taking this move, provided you fully comprehend what you're doing. The problem is people take this move and expect it to go forever. They may have been in profit to some extent, and then boom, it hits their stop loss and they're freaking out. They spend 3 days on this trade, they're upset, they're emotional, and they're just lost, right? So if you know you're only doing a pullback, and you know you're taking the fastest entries across the board, then you know you're only going for 10 or 20 pips, or maybe even 25% of the ADR. If you're waiting for the more confirmed move, because a lot happens here. You're right, it breaks the 50, it breaks the trend line, because here's a trend line, right? It has a momentum candle, and where everything is saying buy. But let's say you didn't see this trade at this moment. Let's say you didn't see it until right, I got it here, where everything starts to turn purple. You might have to decide that you're going to wait, in which case you wouldn't have been able to get back in until here.
Thank you. That makes sense.
So, yeah, does that help a little bit?
Yeah, it does. So, no, that puts things in a whole different perspective. So you're saying, hey, it's okay to take this, but understand what you're getting into. Don't get in down here and try to go for the full ADR, because there's a chance, because it hasn't broken that 50, that we're not in a, we don't have a confirmed trend. So enter cautious.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, guys. There's nothing wrong with the fast entry or trusting some indicators, as long as you know why you're trusting them and how they're working. So this would be right to an extent. And this is a GBP pair, so in all fairness, you're going to get some mad money off of it. If you had entered at the beginning of that candle, which it could have formed at the beginning, I don't know how those form exactly. This is worth 60, 70 pips. It's definitely worth your time. Just know what you're doing before you say, hey, I'm going to hold this forever. I went to work, went on a date with my wife, and now I'm freaking out, hit my stop loss. Trading's never going to work. I'm going to have to work at McDonald's. That's all.
I already think I work at Chuck E. Cheese, but I don't want to go. I'll leave that there. So just last thing, just to confirm, you wait for candle close before taking any, before making any moves.
The only exception to that would be like the fractal break concept. So the fractal break concept is, again, you enter immediately. The exception to that is the fractal break rule. So I don't use the fractal breaks on all my strategies though, guys. I use the fractal breaks on a few of my strategies, not every strategy. And there's a reason for that, because again, you have to know your purpose. That's one of those things, like my mother is super wise. She can say something in 3 sentences that takes me like 3 paragraphs, maybe 3 days. Like, she's that woman. Like, so I don't know how to say this in the best way, but she always taught me to have, like, it's worth paying the price if you have your purpose in mind. So like in life, no matter what you're doing, as long as you keep your purpose in mind, you can accomplish pretty much anything, even the goods and the bads. You can take that aspect. So like, if you know what my purpose is for my 4-hour strategy, my swing trading strategies, either the triple arrows or the daily dots, I don't really care so much about the fractals, because I know what my purpose is. My purpose is not to get this confirmed moving right now move. My purpose is to be part of the overall big move. So I'm willing to not need a fractal break. I'm willing to let it play around as long as it needs to before it decides to rocket off. I'm willing to do what it takes to stay in that trade. Whereas like at some other strategies, I want to enter right now with my purpose in mind is right now. My purpose is today's pips, this week's pips. My purpose is today's compounding. It's not like this month's goal, if that makes sense. So for every strategy, I have my candles are closed. In general, even actually my 4-hour candle, because I check the candle at the closed 4-hour candle time. In all fairness, because that's when I'm checking it, is 9. Remember, we've talked about it 1,000 times. 9 a.m. and 5 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern time. And so I'm checking it technically at the close of that candle to see what it did. But I'm allowed to enter that trade at any time, not based off of a close or an open, rather based off of the confirmations. So the only exception is fractal breaks.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome.
Typically, use multiple strategies during one session, or do you say, okay, today I'm just doing this, or today I'm just looking for that? Or do you kind of say, hey, I've got, based on what my indicators are telling me on this, or, hey, I'm in this position long, now I'm going to go see if I can grab some quick bits over here?
So what I typically do is something along these lines. Granted, again, I just moved across the country, so my routine's a little out of whack versus what I was doing in Colorado, to be super transparent. What I would do is I go into my office and I'm going to set up alerts. It's an alert system that kind of comes, it will pop up something when price touches a certain point. I'm going to set up alerts based off of fractal breakout strategy for all of like 20 pairs. It takes me 15 to 17 minutes to do so. If something is moving right now, I'm going to take that trade. If not, we're cool. That only takes me about 15 to 17 minutes. It's not a big deal. Then I'm going to click through the 4-hour chart because, again, that's around the time that the 4-hour candle happens. Back in Colorado, I was clicking through the 1-hour chart, just so you know. I was clicking through the 1-hour chart, and when I found what I wanted, I would then confirm it on the 4-hour. Now that I'm here, I'm literally just clicking through the 4-hour chart to see if any of the things are lining up to the rules I'm looking to take. It's a yes or no. I click through, and I can click through that 4-hour chart in a couple different ways, and it probably sounds silly, but so one of the ways would be I would drag and drop this pair on this chart, right? This is the let's go to this 4-hour. Sorry, let's be specific here. So I would drag and drop this pair on this 4-hour chart. I'm going to see what I'm looking for or not. So in this case, I don't see it, correct? I can, if I'm not sure or I think that this might be telling me a yes on other strategies I use, like for instance, the daily dot strategy, I might drag and drop this on this chart, which again, for some reason no longer has my daily dots on there, go figure. There we go, nope, nice try. Let's use this one, sorry. Like I said, I've been testing a couple other indicators, but I test a lot of stuff, I play with a lot of stuff. So if maybe it's not setting up the way I want it to on my triple arrows, but I think it might be a good setup for like the daily dot mentality, I'm gonna come over here, I gotta zoom in a little. And again, this is not setting up properly. We've only got 2 dots. I mean, if it broke this fractal level, do I think I could probably get enough pips out of it? Probably. Yeah, but this is a slow mover. There's no momentum, nothing is happening, and this indicator is senseless, by the way. I don't know why you guys or some people are using it. I try to love it, but I don't love it. So on CAD, same concept. So this is a buy for the triple arrows right now. It's looking like it might sell off. If it breaks this fractal, it might sell off for a while. How much, we don't know. But either way, keeping it super simple, we don't have enough confirmations yet. So if I like what I see, I can take the trade. If I don't like what I see, but I think it might line up with a different strategy, I'm going to drag and drop that same chart on another pair. In total, it might take me anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes to check 5 or 6 different strategies. If I chose to, I usually stick with 3 to 4. And it's only even that many because sometimes I test with some for other people in the group. So there is 2 gentlemen, no, there's 1 gentleman who's got a 1-hour thing he asked me to look at. It's very comparable. It's pretty much the triple arrow system. He just simplified it and created rules, which is all I have my clients do is create rules. And I promise when you create rules, they can even be awful rules and your success rate's going to probably be pretty good, even with not great rules. So his strategy appears to be good. I usually stick to 2 to 3, but sometimes I'm testing other people's stuff. So, and that's all I do. And then I'll get up, maybe I'll get pretty. I'll take a walk with my youngest. I'll ride my bike with him to school, that kind of thing. I'll have breakfast with the children. I get a cup of coffee, depending on what my day kind of has. I'll come back in the office, at my next availability, which is typically around 9 a.m. Eastern time. I'll do the same thing, but this time I spend a little bit more time. That's typically when Pat is on his call, so I'll listen to him, or I will plug into a different company's conference that's the ones that have the millionaire mindset groups, and just, again, a lot of fun. Sometimes they do lockouts, and they're just, again, taking music, trading music, and they're just talking, and it's fun. If we talk about boats, and they make fun of me, they say I can't take a boat by myself. This little 4-foot girl, well, more accurately, this little 4-foot white girl is not allowed to take a boat by myself out in the ocean, which I think I can. I think I can figure it out. But either way, just that's the concept of what we do. And sometimes I'll check the chart again at 1 o'clock my time, and sometimes in the evening. But that's how simple it really is. It's not hard. Doing the same steps.
Thank you so much. The boat deal is not a bad problem to have, by the way.
I know. Hey guys, I want to take a boat. Like, I know I'm not a guy, and I don't know even how to hook one up to a truck. But I think I could take a boat if I wanted to take a boat. I think I could learn to drive a boat. And if I can't drive it, I bet you I can hire somebody who can and like just take a boat way, way far out, because I think that sounds exciting and I want to do that. So Sounds like a good weekend to me.
I vote for the captain, and you let him do all the work while you have all the fun.
Yeah, everyone's afraid I'm gonna die. Like, yeah, I'm not. I promise. I'll figure it out. I'm super resilient. So. But, okay. Anyways. Hey, Talina.
Yes.
Do you have a question?
Oh, no, not at all.
All right. Okay. Cool. I can hear your little man singing me a song.
I got a question.
Hey, Irving. How's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Wonderful. And yourself?
I was taking a nap. I was trying to be on your meeting.
Sorry, I muted myself. I was trying to maybe unmute somebody else, but then I muted me. How are you? I hear you've been helping a ton of people set up their charts.
Oh gosh, we are a great family. We are 4 triple arrow, not 3 anymore.
Oh, you guys are using the entry arrow, right?
Right. Hey, I just saw the text. What is the indicator that someone just dropped it? Is the one that you just have in the bottom?
Yeah, oh, wait a minute. I was talking to you about that, the peak. That thing repaints. So, like, it repaints quicker than the big arrow does. But this is the Renko. So, you know what Renko candles are, right?
No, that's when I wake up. So I was like, looking for the link, and then I saw that he said that for your request. I was like, you know what? Let me go to the middle and ask him live session.
I like it so far, honestly, Irving. Like, I really do. So, like, I was telling them that it's a little faster than the crossover. Oh, it's a little bit slower than the crossover, but faster than the break of the zero. So as long as you're taking it mindfully, knowing that you may only be going for a scalp, like, I like Renko candles in general. The only downside is that they're not live, and that's why I won't use them. But Renko candles are awesome.
It's the indicator in the bottom. That's the one that he dropped.
Yes, sir. Yep. Have you should try this. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, well, if you recommend it, definitely I will reconsider. Maybe I will swap it with the other one.
Give it a try. I don't know. Have you used that peak major killer on the strategy tester yet?
I don't issue. What time frame did you? How do you do your analysis anyway? Because I always start with the 4 hours daily.
4 hour.
I usually don't enter. Sometime I don't enter when the triple arrow comes. I just wait for the pullback to be done, and then I re-enter. And then once I know the triple arrow fully formed, then I go ahead and take the trade. Kind of like, I do kind of like similar what LB does on his 5 minutes entry. So I make sure that I have a strong confirmation that everything is up and running.
Are you liking that strategy so far? Have you had a lot of success trying to do the 5 minute triple arrows in the same direction as the daily color?
Or the Elvis, I had tried. It works, but the thing I'm so used to to my own way, the old way. So I don't know. It's good, but I got my own style. So, yeah, it's hard for me to swap because whatever you have to find one thing that works for you. For anyone, once you know and you master your strategy, stick to it. That's my personal view. And don't get me wrong, always strategy is good. I make 100 pips. I mean, a couple pips out of that one. But I keep, double checking on my own one and then on his. But it does work. So, but
hey, how are you doing with the flip flop? By the way, are you killing it still with that? Are you using it?
Oh yeah, if you see it on my, I don't know if you check my videos. I still had my RSI connected with. The thing is that I have a combination. I pull my RSI, and then I pull the peak. one. I always make sure that my PSRs are pointing whatever direction the trend is, and then I make sure the crossover they do happens, and the RSI is always there. I use the RSI for everything. If I know that they have break the 50 line, then that's it.
And do you have it set at 14 or at 10 now for the RSI?
I'm doing it on the 10.
You're the best. Good job.
Yeah.
But you were
That's
doing
what you're using, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So like honestly, well, I was silly at first. Like I tried to use the RSI and I tried to do the overbought, oversold thing, but like it only works differently. It only works for like a couple of pips. So like if you use it with the trend when it breaks the 50, that's the best thing you can possibly do because now you're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Like it's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing, especially on the phone because once I'm on my PC, even though on my PC, I added in there, so the RSI is very, very powerful. It doesn't matter which, however you have your setup. I think that everyone should use it. And you and I and many have tested the RSI, and they do like it. They do like it, and now what I'm using from Elvis, I like his trading schedule. For like 10, 11, 9 and 10 in the morning till before the daily candle close. So I was like, okay, you know what? I like that 7 hours trading time. And sometimes I miss the night trading because, I take a nap and I totally forget. And then I just wake up. I wake up sometime at 4 or 5 in the morning when it's too late. But I like it. So far, everything is good.
You're a rock star trying to take those late night ones. I couldn't do it. So I recommend you. I couldn't do that. I'm like, I'd be a zombie.
Yeah.
Hey, last question for you. How far have you compounded an account using the flip-flop method? So like how many winning trades did you get to?
I have, I think like almost $4,000 from what it was very low when I found that account. And now I think now I made a decision to, my goal is to maybe close it to 6,000 or up to 10,000 by the end of the year. And then probably I would donate the money to someone, like, maybe 2, 3 family I will sponsor for Christmas. So they can buy their Christmas tree, they can get some present. I want to give because it was something that I was testing and it does work. So it's a proven system. And just by doing it, 10 few extra, more than 10 pips, and it's powerful. I think, personal, if you find something that really works, stick to it. But the thing is, there are too many distractions as well. A lot of our newbie, they do come up with a lot of new ideas from maybe all platforms, which is good. But everyone has to find their their strength. Once they know that something works for them, sure, we are here to learn additional items because that's what this business is about. But if you find something that works, stick to it, and that's it. You're gonna make it because at the end of the day, we are in sole proprietorship, so we're just working for ourselves. We do share ideas all together, but we are the one who press buy or sell on our phone or either on our PC. So we are the only one who make the decision. So to me, all I can say is stick to your plan and you will make it big.
That's awesome. Hey, as soon as I get this nonprofit up and running, you can totally be on the board of directors. because I know your heart and I trust your heart. No, I do, seriously.
Absolutely.
Because I think that it's going to be awesome and we can make a huge difference, like in terms of just making waves in a different way in this world. So I love your heart and I love the good things that you're doing and the good works. And I'm so honored to be able to work with you.
Yeah, definitely. That's good.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to see if anybody else has any questions, okay?
All right.
All right. Hey, thanks for jumping on. And check that out. You'll like it.
Yeah. I'm gonna download it and take a look at it.
All right, but get some
Thank you.
sleep. Don't be trying to trade those late night ones. You've got a family. Like that
I know.
makes
Trust me. Once I like that 7 hours trading. I like his method. That is good.
Yes.
You always learn something. But, I got my own way and it works for me, so I stick to that one. But I highly recommend everyone to find their niche and then stick to it.
Yes, exactly. And that's what it comes down to, guys. And just like, look, Pat has his great abilities. I have mine. Irving has his. And even Elvis, which again is not my style whatsoever. Like, it's all about just creating and finding your own rules. And that's all it comes down to. Because as soon as you can do that, I don't care what, things you're using, as long as you're using them in the right way. I mean, don't go trying to use RSI on the overbought, oversold kind of thing. Don't just use the MACD crossover. Make sure you're using it confirmed at the 0. And or whatever you like, whichever one it is. And I promise you're going to have a ton of success if you find and establish your rules and then just simply don't break them. So any other questions, comments, or pairs, guys, you want to take a look at? I'll go to the chat real quick.
Yeah, I have one more question.
Hey, AJ, how are you?
Far as the swing trading, like what's the time frame that you would do it? Like you're starting and you're exiting or stopping or whatever.
Swing trading is ongoing, so that's the best advantage to having a no swap fee broker, is because typically speaking, you can hold this trade for days, weeks, and or months. So let's take a look at this one trade. The big arrow is way up here, so let's pretend like we got in on a pullback, not even the whole trade. This is July 30th, today is the 21st. So you're already at a month, and this wasn't even the entire move. So the entire move, just to give you an idea, wow, this is a bad example, but this was like months. So this was April. This move happened in April, May to August.
All right, what would you set your first stop loss at?
Do you mean stop loss or take profit?
Take profit, my bad.
So if I had got it on that top entry?
Yeah, if you would have got it in May.
So the truth is, we all like to think that we would have held that move that long. I'm sure there are some superheroes on this call and around the world who did. I definitely did not. If I'm being honest, I probably held it to here at the most. So okay. My take profit, if I was swing trading, I've done it several different ways. One of them was stacking it 4 times. My current way, because there's not as much volume in the market until after Labor Day, is I take one trade for, anywhere from 50, 60 pips to half of the ADR to the whole ADR, depending on what time frame. And then I have one trade that's a runner. So my first heavy position would be the 25%. It would be 20%, 15%. It's the higher percentage of the gain. My second position, sorry, I probably said that wrong. So my first take profit position is a much bigger percentage of risk. My second position is a runner, and that one might be like 3 to 5%, give or take, depending on what compounding I'm using. And even if I caught even half of this move, the purpose of that runner is the way I treat my runners is not to make money or to increase my account. In fact, I have a separate compounding worksheet that helps me decide the lot size, but it doesn't factor into my overall net gain. And the reason why I do it that way is because I use those runners as a way to eat up losses, to eat up the times where it kind of knocked me out of profit too soon because of my trailing stop or whatever. So where I would have set my take profit depends on the pair, the movement, previous support and resistance, and a couple of other things as well. So
okay.
Yes, sir. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, awesome. Because look, you can get back in this trade a lot of times, particularly at those daily dots. But you could have gotten in on any of these 4-hour dots too. I prefer the daily dots personally. And it doesn't mean they're perfect because they do also reset like anything else. but they're just pretty stable and I like them a whole bunch. They make me happy. So, yes, sir. Next question. Hey guys, if price breaks through this, so I don't like how there's European news and tomorrow's Thursday, but even if you wanted to do a baby lot size on this, and every trade that I called out on last night's call, every one of them hit like 20 or 30 pips take profit. Every one of them. It's not hard to find a 20 or 30 pip trade. It's hard to find the swing trades and then be right and not take any losses in the process. So, but this trade, this Euro Chef, we would want it to break this high, and when it does, it's probably going to pull back. But then even just to get your give or take 40 pips is very, very likely. You'd want a really tight trailing stop because of the news, and don't take a huge lot size. But this is the kind of confirmations we want. We would want our RSI above the 50. We want Euro stronger than the Chef. We want the lot of momentum in terms of the buyers, a lot of momentum in terms of the ADX. Okay, we have daily dots, not enough of them, granted. 4 hours, we're getting ready to break a fractal. We're above the 50, 8 and 18 cross, triple arrows. So this meets most of those rules. If you need to add a few others for extra confirmation, you can. And then the odds are this will swing in your favor for a longer period of time. Granted, we don't know if it's just a pullback, so that's why you're playing it smart. And plus, there's news. So, all right, next question. Anybody at all?
Hey, Jenny, how's it going?
Hi, Avery. How are you?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Fantastic. Happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Quick question. I asked Pat about this morning, but I want to get your opinion as well. You probably answered it, and I simply forgot. What are the times of day that you normally start looking for your trades?
So I'll say again, my schedule's a little bit adjusting right now, just the children being back in school and moving to Florida. So prior to now, my major time that I started looking at the charts was the 1500 candle on MT4. So I'll go to the 1 hour chart. Now that was approximately 6 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, right? So I would look for charts in and around this time frame. And then I would trade up until about 1, 2 o'clock my time, which was Mountain Time. So I would trade for most of the New York session, approximately 6 to 7 hours. And my swing trades, obviously, I would hold them, but anything else I would close at the end of business. Now, what time zone are you in, Avery?
Eastern.
So now, like, just to make it simple for you, when I'm not being a bum, I'll check that 5 a.m. candle. But this last week, I have not checked the 5 a.m. candle. So I usually check it around that 7, well, I guess that's 6 a.m. Eastern time. And that's the 1300 candle on the MT4 chart. At that point, I'm going to kind of set up alerts for any breakouts. I'm going to double check to see what's happening on those 4 hour candles. And then I'll come back in my office at 9 a.m. And this is the time that I would do the heaviest amount of analysis and trading and kind of going over the signals and what I see and writing stuff out, taking notes. Like this would be my quote unquote active time. Typically I'll be in my office for an hour or two, depending on if I have a coaching. And then I'll check the charts again at 1 p.m. if I'm available. And other than that, that's about it. Like, so I don't take a lot of trades at night because I feel like London usually has too much volatility. They just play with them. I might manage them at 9 p.m. So if I come in my office at 9, I would go in and I'd manage my trades, as in move my stop losses up or adjust what I need to do or trim profits or whatever I need to do. But in general, that's kind of my setup. It doesn't take very long. My active trading time is probably less than an hour and a half a day. My active time of analyzing and taking trades is probably closer to like 15, 20 minutes in total, not in terms of like the looking at it, but yeah, the taking of a trade, the managing the trade, the entering and exiting a trade is probably 15, 20 minutes. The time I spend looking at charts, probably an hour and a half, 2 hours most, analyzing them. So, does that answer your question?
Perfectly. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. All right, next question. Anybody at all? You guys message me questions all the time, so this is like a really good time for you to Oscar.
I'm gonna chime in since I'm just really quick, just really fast.
Yep, go ahead.
I just want to thank you so much for sitting here, taking the time out of your day. Like, that is unbelievable. I've rarely met people who will even stop to say hello, and for you to sit here, you and Pat, both of you, to take time consistently and make it a part of your day to help us. That is just, I mean, it's unfathomable that the two of you would do this, and I just want to thank you since I don't get a chance to talk to you out loud. So, thanks.
Well, thank you. I super appreciate your kind words. You put a huge smile on my face. It's an honor to be able to work with you guys. I've met some amazing people, and I'm just really blessed to be able to have a skill set that I can share and hopefully make some huge differences in people's lives. So you put a smile on my face. Thank you.
I second that, Jenny. Thank you so very much for the valuable time that you spend with us.
You are welcome. Definitely.
Stanley here.
Hey, Stanley. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Been setting up all my stuff in preparation for D-Day. Question is actually on the compounding sheet.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking at it, and I was wondering, I noticed you have, let's see, I'm on the tab for per trade, I guess. And in the trade column, row, you have 20, 30, 40, and 50, of course. And then you have underneath that the lots based on under the 20 column or the 30, 40, or 50. What's the 20, 30, and 40, 50 stand for?
That stands for how many pips your target take profit would be.
Oh, okay.
So like if we, and we're going to go over this in a super open format. I'm going to probably do 2 or 3 calls where I talk about rules of the trades, how to manage them. I will try to make a super short video. Again, that's not my gift, is to speak quickly. So I will try to make a very short video that is very quick and concise and easy to rewatch, that says exactly what you do to move your stop loss up, to apply a trailing stop, and to manage your trade. Because management is where you're going to see the biggest returns in terms of your trading. And then we'll also do a live call in terms of being able to utilize this spreadsheet based on whatever format you're using it on. Some people are using it via Apple, some people are using it Windows and Microsoft Office, and some people are using it in Google Drive. So to the best of my ability, I will try to accommodate all 3 people and able to show them exactly how to maneuver the worksheet, how to plug and play. So like where you would make changes, how you would adjust if there's a loss, how you would adjust if there's an overage, and just every rule that I can possibly foresee within reason to the best of my ability. We will discuss that on a compounding only topic call. So you guys are clear, because I want you to know, like, I don't want to just do this with you and everyone's like, it's a ton of pressure and it's really exciting, but it's also kind of scary. Like, I don't want it to just be about what I can do. I want you guys to see that you can technically take a $25 account. Granted, it's much slower at that size, and I think it's harder to, but let's just say a $50 account, and you can turn it into $5,000. Like, you can do that even without the best skill set in a week or 2. And as you get better, you can take a $200 account and turn it into $10,000 pretty consistently every single month, even with losses and bad days. And that's without even going extremely insane with your lot sizes. Like, you can do that, not just me. Like, you can do that based off of 15% growth. So I want you guys to be able to use this worksheet and apply this to your own trades as well. So like Irving, he's come a long way. Like, he has a heart of gold. He's a really good guy. He's done that flip-flop strategy. His was a little different at first, but he's got it down to a science, and he's been able to have an insane level of accuracy going up to 10 pips. With all of those, there's no reason why you can't get to 6 or 7 figures pretty quickly too.
Yes. yes. I like quickly. I haven't gotten the flip-flop method down yet though, but okay, so that's good to know. I wondered what that meant. That's how many pips.
Yeah, I will kind of teach you guys to the best of my ability with all the different formats to what to do, and every question I can think of prior to, I will do my best to cover each. But again, I want it to be like super short so new people can watch it and I don't have to talk about it every single time. So that's what I'm hoping at least. We'll see how good I get at that. I suppose I need to learn.
I did play around with the US 30 for a couple of days and had some success.
Way to go. That's awesome. So did you take a net gain or a net loss?
I made something net gains.
Okay, awesome.
But I haven't been, I've been trading lightly and I wait for at least a 50, you know, for it to cost a 50. So, but yeah, I've been messing around with it.
It's a lot of fun. It's exciting because you're like, whoa, that just happened. Whoa. And then you're like, but that whoa works both ways. So it works the good way and the bad one. So yeah.
Yes, so I know I have to be careful. So, you know, I took a couple of those for like 3 days in a row and got pretty good success. So I didn't do anything.
Were you using my flip-flop method like on the 5 minute, right?
Yes.
I'm telling you guys, I was using that on US 30 for a total of a month just to play it around with it and kind of give me a challenge. And it works. It works really well. The only reason why I won't like have a US 30 only account is primarily because compounding it is too complicated to do it effectively. And since I can do just as well with lower risk and lower volatility, I may as well play with other things. So.
Yes. Yeah, no, I don't want to become too in love with that because I know I'll blow my account. So.
Yes, you will. You're a smart person.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen.
Thank you.
Hey, Elliot, how are you?
Hey, I'm just fine. I know you're fine too. Could you speak a little bit about how you use the daily dots in your trading decision?
Well, you see where they're at on this chart right here?
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah.
That's not good. It's no bueno. So as you guys know, the daily dots and the 4 hour dots, they do repaint, but so does everything. So I'm not like super worried about it, but I will say it's either the MT4 platforms or it's something that's causing them to repaint more frequently. So now that I've said that, I use them just like you would any other support and resistance. So it counts as a check mark, right? So if I'm taking trades, and this looks really pretty in backtesting, if I can ever find that proper chart, let's use this one. Like, no, can't use this one, sorry. Bear with me, I'm really sorry. There we go. Keeping a super naked, super simple chart, right? If we only paid attention to just this, okay? Just this. Only took like the 8 and 18 crossover when it was in the same direction as the daily dots, you'd be surprised how often that is like dead on accurate. Now, granted, these adjust, right? But this does not adjust, okay? This does not adjust, and this does not adjust. So if you're taking your trade based off of just some really simple rules, I don't care which ones they are, because I want to teach you guys that your eyes have to see it. If that's why I want to find new things isn't for me and it isn't even for you, it's for all the people who are coming on board who they just can't understand the MACD. I don't know why. It's one of my favorites. Either way, even if this was, for example, over here, we didn't have an 8 and 18 crossover, right? Even if it was, for example, over here, we had big arrows or whatever, we didn't have the confirmations we needed. So if I was going just off of my 8 and 18 cross and literally only the things you see on this chart, nothing else, you again have your faster entry, okay? When everything lines up at your 8 and 18 cross, you can take that entry. You would have easily got your pips, and this is a slow mover, so that's definitely a move. And you can take your more confirmed entry when price breaks above the 0, and your momentum is up, okay? And you can go for as many confirmations as you need to feel comfortable, essentially. But you would use them just like that. The daily dots would count as one piece of evidence. So daily dots is 1, crossover is 2, breakup 0 is 3, and that's it. It just counts as one more. And if I don't take trades, so in hindsight, everything is pretty, but now that they're adjusting so much, I don't know how accurate this statement is, to be truthful with you. I would take this trade. I would have closed in profit at some point, whether it was because of a trailing stop or because I manually did it. I would have closed in profit, but this is a kind of a mess. Now
Totally.
that's not a fun trade to be in. Now we also don't know, as you just saw with the repainting, if there was daily dots here and then they moved down here. You see what I'm saying? We don't know that when we visually look at this and scroll backwards. The only way we would know that is from back testing and live charts, because even that, they're not working. They're not, live charts are resetting too often, and the strategy tester on those, they're pulling up the accurate way because it's still previous data. So even our strategy tester, which is this right here, is only going to be so accurate because it already has all the previous data. So yeah, this trade would be the one you want to stay out of. And I can't promise that this would have kept us out of it. If we were waiting until it was above the 40, it would have kept us out of it. But if we were waiting until it was above the 25, I would have entered it. See?
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you an idea. So you're just trading.
Well, so you would take a trade from the dots, even if it's in the same direction as the triple arrows?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, again.
You see, for me, can I just see for me, like chart, if you go back a little bit, I have no problem seeing that first beginning of the move when it crosses the 50 and the 8 and 18 cross the 50, which is something that I personally do a lot. But like 2 days later, when we're in the middle of the chop, I don't know what to do at that point.
Okay, so you're looking for re-entry confirmations, yeah?
Yeah, that's good. Yes.
Okay, so that's easy. So same concept. I mean, you can only take the trades that are in the same direction as the daily dot, right? So this is GBP. Mm-hmm. But the reason why I don't teach that or even discuss that, because how do I say that? There's a good chance it's irrelevant information, and here's why. So we have our triple arrows, it's saying sell, okay? Every time that you have these 4-hour dots, you can take another entry. These 4-hour dots, that's another entry, 4-hour dots. So for example, this would have been here, maybe the first 4 back painted is possible, but either way, you would take another entry. You would go for half of the ADR probably to be safest. And again, same concept with like the break of a fractal. So like if it broke a fractal, you can take another entry. If it pulled back, so imagine, have you seen somebody draw like a trend line with the flags?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm sure we've all seen that 100 times. And I'm sure there are way better artists than me. So we had a move, it made a flag, you can take an entry. We had a move, it made a flag, you can take another entry. We had a move, it made a flag, you can take another, and we can just do this all day long. So same concept here. You can use the fractals in 2 different ways. You can use the flip of a parabolic SAR. You can use a rejection of the MACD. So like if it comes back up to the 0 line and then it comes down, you can use that as a way to stay in it. You can use 1,000 things, but it's a matter of taking your rules. So like what indicators are on your chart? Can you find rules that tell you, hey, I'm going to stay in this trade or I'm going to re-enter this trade? So this is the perfect flag. This is a really good one. And when it broke below that flag, you know this is selling. For how much, we don't know, but you can continue to sell it in that direction. You can just sell every fractal. You can sell every time it retests the 8. You can sell just these, the 4-hour support. And if we keep going over, since this is only the first part of the move, you can sell every daily dots that are in the same direction as the 4-hour. But the reason why that's hard is because there's a good chance that that big arrow, this was a triple arrow. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen them move around.
There's a good chance that this was a triple arrow, so you would have missed this trade down. There's a good chance that this was a triple arrow because it made a lower low, right? Telling you to buy. So you would have missed this sell down, which was technically still in the direction of the triple arrow. There's a good chance, there's already 2 arrows here, this was a triple arrow, which means you would have missed this move and this move and this move and this move. And that's a month. So this is June to the end of July, August. Well, this is months worth of moves you're missing. And that's what people are doing. You're missing months worth of moves because you're not, like we, including myself, Like, we're not understanding that this is all a process. So we have triple arrows right here, sure, absolutely. But we also currently have daily dots. This impulse candle is not appealing. I wouldn't want to probably go against it personally, but either way, let's say that we had enough confirmations to go against it, which is possible. We get that. This is a USD pair. It's got News Friday, so let's pretend like this is fully set up. We have daily dots, one arrow. There's a good chance we're going to get that other. Actually, we definitely have a sell arrow. So our most previous little arrow was what color? It was purple for sell. And the yellow arrow. Let's say we have the 8 and 18 cross and we break below the 50. Well, we have triple arrows here, but we would have, they're good chance they're going to reset. Does that make sense? So we're not going to have known we had that here. If this makes a lower low than this, this will have reset. Does that make sense?
So then in that case, you're using the, yeah, it does. It does. So in that case, you use the fractal, the break of the fractal, which is the low, as a confirmation for reentry. One confirmation.
Absolutely. But so look at some stuff that doesn't repaint. So like that yellow arrow is pretty stable. It's insignificant on its own if you're asking me. But when you combine that with a little arrow, which doesn't repaint very often, but does occasionally, it almost never repaints, at least for me. So think about it this way. This is still a move. This is still a move. I don't prefer these tiny ones like in terms of the 4-hour dots. There's just a little bit too much trading in there for me. But for me, the daily dots with double arrows, we'll call them double arrows, call it double whatever. And we have a crossover and it's in the same direction as the daily dots, and we have enough other confirmations. Why would we not take that for 40 pips? Do you realize that in this same, we said what, June to August, one pair, one time, yeah, everyone wants this move, but you would have literally compounded your account from, you know, 100 to 200 bucks to a few grand off of one pair with no stress or worry, even if you lost 2 trades.
Got it.
Does that help at all?
No, yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does.
So I don't have, you're welcome.
All right. Got a question.
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Yeah, this is Irvin again. Hey, the retinal indicator that I was dropped on the chat is amazing. It's exact same thing as what the RSI is, but it's the breakout of the 50 RSI line. As soon as it breaks the 50 arrow for a buy, same thing for a sell. So I just put it on the top, over my RSI, and I'm just paying attention. It just gives you the signal when it breaks the RSI. So basically, it just confirmed all this time that I've been trading with the RSI, that the RSI is amazing. That's why I still use it, but it's just another indicator that now has reconfirmed that area.
So you put it in this chat, right?
Yeah, well, you know, on the side. So when you drop that indicator, so you grab it and put it inside of your RSI. So automatically it's gonna overlay both indicator in the same group, and then you will see exactly what the entry is for a buy, for a sell. So it's something that we'll be using all this time, but it's just another extra way to see exactly when the arrow shows up, and you will be like, oh, that's amazing. It just tells you. It blew my mind. So I was like, wow.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna, maybe if this will let me, I'm trying to save it to my actual desktop, if it will let me. Let's see.
Yeah, I just put a photo on the chat room, how it looks, and if you probably you can open it up so everybody can see it. But it's amazing.
Let's see if I can open it up.
I think for those that use RSI like we do,
Wait a minute.
this is
Did you drop the indicator in the chat or in the Telegram group?
not on the our chat on our Zoom. I just put a picture of it because I couldn't drop the picture of it, so I just save it on my file and put a picture, a photo of it. It's good.
Gotcha.
I think it's good. Whoever dropped this indicator, this guy is great. So thank you for that.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. If it's not, will you send it to me in my Telegram? Because I don't think you put it in the group, right?
No, yeah, I put it on inside of on the chat room, on the live that we're doing right now on the Zoom group chat room. I put a picture of it. Can you share?
No, I see. Yeah, you put that new indicator on the RSI.
No, yes, that's what I did.
Okay, sorry. It took like forever to get that to load, and I was like, what is he talking about? Sorry, cool. No, that looks good.
It's amazing. It's totally amazing. I was like, wow, man, they have to know right now before, so they can, if they do it.
I'm kind of curious because yeah, this matches like my 10 RSI, like in terms of where it breaks to zero, but for some reason
it's just the exact same thing. The benefit is that you do get the arrow when it's a breakout of our 50 RSI. That's all we're seeing. All the other arrows back and forth, buy and sell. That's all. Basically, that's what you're seeing. It's just amazing. This is, I mean, I'm telling you.
That is awesome.
This group amazed me. Son. You see?
Mm-hmm.
It's right in the middle of it. So like at least you know now exactly when it does the breakout. Because sometimes for a lot of people, they don't know how to read the RSI. And there it is. It's right on.
So far.
There you go. That's awesome, guys.
Thank you. Whoever was the person, that was great. So I will use it now.
Hey, I think DJ gets the credit for sharing that one with me. I think other people have shared it with me. I'm sorry if I'm dishonoring you, but that was the first time I took it seriously, I think, was DJ. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Thank you, DJ.
I actually, no, that wasn't me. I got it when you shared it, Jenny. But
Right. Now I'm in real trouble. Great.
But while we were on this call and we looked at that trade when we was comparing the Renko maker to the MACD, and I said, wow, I just noticed how the ADX line would have kept you out of that noise. I merged the ADX line with the Renko maker, and it's working a lot better now, especially if you just wait for the break of the ADX line over the 25 line. And I think that's the confirm moves you were looking for, and that will keep you out of that noise.
So you want me to put this on top of this?
I did it on my chart. It works. It looks good. It doesn't look that bad.
It doesn't look bad. Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Just the white line. Just the white line.
Oh, just the white line. You and your just the white line. Hold on.
Before it was no white line, but now it's just a white line.
I know, like you and you. Listen, Linda. Listen, I know where it's at. It's on the trend.
Yep.
So just the white line, you say. I have a chart already set up like that, as you know. What am I doing? Silly me. Oopsie. Okay, so we're gonna go to no DI. And no. My settings at 10, right?
Yes. And if you just wait for it to be over the 25 line and you wait for it to be green, for instance, then that's a good signal to take the buy for the trade, and vice versa.
That's kind of awesome. Wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute. So it sold and momentum crossed above the 25. Let's see. I love this kind of stuff. Let's see. That's kind of sweet. And we have double arrows. See our double Ds. We'll call them that.
This is a great night. Thank you, guys.
I know, right? I love it. I kind of like I like the idea, like, what is it called? Collaborating. and like sharing ideas, like sharing thoughts and sharing charts. Like it's fun. Otherwise, we all work from home and we're all alone. And it's
Yeah,
hard.
definitely it was a really lonely when I didn't have this group. I was just reading baby pips trying to get through, but pretty cool. Have people to talk to about it.
It is nice. I think it's awesome. Okay, so we have our crossover and momentum goes up, and we get a real move.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, huh?
Crossover. I might be able to get down on this one. This is messy though. It's messy for my eyeballs, my poor eyeballs. But I kind of like it because technically, when price breaks below the momentum, let's see, that's a no-go because momentum is too low.
Right.
That's a buy, so we need to find a really strong sell. And we're not going to find one on this side, so let's scroll over.
It's even better on the 4-hour because, you know, all indicators work better on the 4-hour.
I love the 4-hour. The 4-hour and me, we're best friends. We decided that, you know, we're going to go exclusive now. And let me tell you, it's working out. So, oh my gosh, yeah, I love that. That right there, I love that. Because that's the powerful move. That's what we want.
Quick question.
Yep.
Anything that's over the 25 line, that's when you'll get into that trade?
In general, the answer to that is yes. So, like, how do I say this and still be not against an NDA agreement? Like, so there are people who trade it differently. There are people who only trade it based off of different settings and off of certain numbers. So for me, I need my momentum to be above the 25 bare minimum. Like, and that I'm going to say is for experienced traders. And don't take it offensively if we say experienced traders. If you want the safest entry, which yes means the latest entry, so you have to know what your purpose is and be willing to pay the price to get it. Your safest entry is typically after the 40. But it's also where the most volume and the most money and the biggest drop is. The downside is it's a late entry. The downside is it's very rare. It's harder to find everything that lines up right here. It's much easier to find these moves. But these moves aren't as accurate. So you have to be mindful of that and okay with the results you're getting based off of the way you're using it. So 25 and 40 is awesome. That's what you should have on there.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, any other questions or comments or pairs? Anybody at all? Thank you, Irving, for coming up and kind of collaborating with me. Super and DJ for stepping up and everybody else.
Hey, so
thank you for everything.
So no problem. But I just used this ADX with the Renko on my latest trade. I just entered actually while we were in class is the CAD JPY on the 15-minute for the sell, and it's working out. I'm up 7 pips right now.
Nice.
I just used
What
it.
broker? What broker?
With Hugo's Way.
Nice. So you're selling, oh, but you're basing out the 15-minute time frame.
Right.
Oh, you're doing the now and later.
Right. So I got the dots and everything on mine.
Booyah. That's perfect. That is great. So now maybe you can help other people. Like, so you're always on my calls and I super adore you. So maybe you can help people and even myself. I don't take a lot of scalp trades at night. So like if maybe you keep track of the now and laters you're taking during Asian session, we can call some now and later trades during Asian session. I just don't want them to be holding trades like over London when we're going to bed, because then of course bad things happen and then it's everyone's fault. So how often do you take your now and laters at night?
You know, I try to take it every night, but I don't always see good setups. But there's usually at least a couple, 2 to 3 times a week where I really be finding good trades.
Nice. Okay.
But I mean, I don't mind. I guess calling out trades or having people analyze what I see when I do see it.
Well, no, you don't have to call them out. I'm just saying, like, we can look at them together, like, so we can say, but your job is to keep track of your results of are you winning enough of them? Because we'd have to call them early enough in the call that we could actually monitor them, because I'd want to close them or at least have them protected, because we all know there are moves that happen right now, but I just don't want them to go to bed with them running.
Got you. I mean, okay.
So, you're more than welcome to kind of say, hey, this is what I'm looking at, because I don't do the now and later, nor do I trade Asian. And once you guys get good, like when you guys get good enough to pay all of your bills good, you're going to realize you're allowed to stay in your own lane and it is not an insult. Like you're going to get really good at things. Like then you're like, okay, so I'm really good at this and I'm happy with being good at this and I don't need to perfect everything else. So yeah, anyways, but that's awesome. Way to go, DJ. You use those Renko bars with the ADX. The ADX works really good. You combine that with that break of the fractal, it's fire. This whole setup is good though. That's a good setup in general.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about it when I seen it too. I did put it in this chat at least around the time I took the trade.
Nice. Well, we can analyze on the 15-minute chart. Maybe that would be better, which isn't necessarily my thing, so we'd all be going through a learning curve, but I'm a pretty good trader, but I'm just not willing to take 4-hour trades at night because I don't want to put in huge lots on a trade at night and then go to bed and not be, because most of us, if we're being honest, we lose sleep over that. It's exciting when we wake up in the blue, but it's really hard when we wake up to a blown account. It's really hard when we wake up and everything is gone or we made a huge mistake. And it's nice when you wake up blue, it feels good. You're like, woohoo, I made pillow profits. But then there's enough times where you wake up and you're like, huh, that's $7,000 I just blew because I broke my own rules. That's hard. So the 15-minute trades are good though. And I started working on them actually per a request from somebody else so I could get better at the now and later because I don't do now and later. I do the flip-flop like Irving. The flip-flop was something that kind of we put our heads together and kind of came up with together. So, but okay, Devin, do you have a question? Devin, can you hear me? Devin, can you hear me? Are you there? Okay, why we muted him? Sorry. Well, guys, it's actually we've been. Mike, are you there?
Hello.
Hey, who's this? Mike?
Hey, yeah, this is Mike. How are you, Jenny?
Wonderful. You've got a massive echo. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. I kind of got on the call a little late. Did you go over? I saw on one of your charts you had the where you got the I don't know if I'm okay to say this. I guess where you had the stop loss on there, the hidden stop loss.
Oh, I can't go over that on this call. No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But yeah, no, I'm not going over that on this call. I'll message you. So I actually sent you a template to see if you could open it so I can make sure I send all my coaching clients things that work. So test out that template. But I can't go over that on this. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I'll forgive you. I promise.
All right.
All right. Devin, are you raising your hand again? Devin, I'm here. Can you hear me? So I'm pretty sure it wasn't an accident because I lowered your hand once and now it's raised again. So I would love to talk to you. Are you there?
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. How can I help you?
I was just gonna ask you, how do you use your fractals? And when you get the triple arrows, do you go up like a candle confirmation, like a candlestick confirmation, or? Because when I trade and I do the triple arrows, I think I need to I don't get I got fractals on my charts, but I really don't get how to use them. And I just was curious on how you use them.
So I'm going to make a video just about fractals because I think I went over them a whole bunch. There's a lot of ways to use fractals. I don't know everything. I'm sure there are better ways and maybe worse ways. I don't know what I don't know. My understanding is they're based off of the size of the candles prior to and after going above or below a certain point. Somebody else was saying that they might be based off of 5, and I don't know that. In my experience, they don't repaint very often. If they do move, I don't know about it. So now that I've said all that, to try to give you as much information as possible, I will say this. I use them in one way particularly, and then occasionally in a second way. And here's how that works. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Signal for a buy. We have enough things that kind of confirm. I don't want to go in for detail, but using the break of a fractal would confirm momentum. It confirms the direction the market is moving. You officially made a higher high. So how I would use it is there is a top facing fractal, and when price breaks above that, in the middle of this candle, I don't necessarily wait for that one to close, I would take that trade and take it for a buy. For this concept, I would be going for a small amount of pips because you're almost guaranteed. Obviously, you need a good broker with a low spread, but you're almost guaranteed 10 pips on most time frames. So that's it. And then the second way to use them is like when you're above the 50 and you're trending, and you get these lower facing fractals. Every time you get a lower facing fractal, you can continue to buy again, provided you're on top of the 50 and you're going in the trend concept. And that's how I've kind of been taught to use them. One says a breakout like a buy stop. Think of it like this, if you know anything about penny orders. One says a stop order, one says a limit order. So those are the two most common ones. I prefer the stop one, although it is a late entry. The downside is that typically when it makes a higher high, it almost always pulls back. Not always, but when it does, man, it pulls back hard. And that's all I can think of.
I got one more question. Is that okay?
Of course, yeah. Yes, sir.
So when your triple arrows come up, do you wait until a candlestick confirmation to take your trade?
Oh, you asked that too. So again, we have X amount of confirmations on this chart. If I happen to see like a railroad formation, if I happen to see a doji or like a super notable candlestick confirmation, you know, like the three black men, little whatever, head and shoulders pattern, any of those things, that will count for a confirmation for me.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
Like, so that they would just count as a check mark on my little algorithm list. I'm not necessarily looking for that, but it's an asset.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Thank you.
You are welcome. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
No, that was me. I mean, I don't know what happened, but thank you.
You are welcome. Anything else that you really want to come over tonight, guys?
Hey, Jenny, DJ again.
Hey, DJ.
Hey, I noticed you get asked a lot about fractals, and honestly, since the last few videos you did, I've been getting private messaged about fractals as well. I actually have a really good video I could share with the group. It's like a 4.5-minute video and it explains everything you need to know about fractals. Is it cool?
There you go. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'll drop that now.
I have so many videos to make you guys. It's not even funny. So yes, please do. Yes. 4 minutes and everything about fractals. Yeah, that sounds perfect to me, and it sounds like something I don't have to do. So that sounds fantastic. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. These have been going kind of long, so maybe next week we'll just click through and see if we can't find any now and later trades like to take live, just to play with. But the point is, I'm going to want your charts open, and you're going to have to actually manage that trade. So as soon as Pat lets me know we can start this challenge, I'm excited too. I've kind of been like overly ready. So now the anticipation is like a lot. I was like, okay, so let's just do it now. Let's just do it now. But he's working on a lot of stuff. He's got a flyer he's making and words and all this other stuff. He put it on the website, or he's going to put it on the website or something. So it's all coming along. So either way, I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. And I don't know for sure a start date at this point. We know it's not next week yet because we are not in place yet. So we know it must be the week after, I suppose, from what I can gather from him thus far. So I hope that answers your many questions, and I will definitely be in touch and talk to you guys here soon.
Thanks.
You are welcome.
So very much.
Thank you guys.
Great webinar.
Yeah, it was fun. And hey, whoever was not fully covered, if you know that it was you, maybe you should be the one to go back and watch the video. Make sure there's nothing seen in the video. And then if there is, you don't even have to tell me it was you, but then just message me and say, hey, yo, lady, listen, Linda, we're going to get that off of YouTube because people are going to see that video. So.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey.
Do you think Pat might start the six-figure challenge if that nude guy comes back? Just kidding.
Okay, first off, in case y'all haven't noticed, Pat is a man, and he's, from what I can gather, he's a pretty good husband. So,
He's a great husband.
Where I would usually say a female would do it, I'm not even going to say that because I'm not going to dishonor his wife and say that. So, if a nude guy comes back, I'm pretty sure he'd be rather indifferent and/or dude needs to get out of my group about it.
Well, thank you for tonight.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. It was awesome just kind of hanging out, and thank you guys all for stepping up, and have a fantastic weekend. I will get this uploaded tomorrow morning, and then as soon as I can get it into the group, I'll get it there. It takes time to upload, in all fairness, so yes. But good night, sweet dreams, all that good jazz, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Good night, Jenny. Thanks a lot.
Good night, Jenny.
Oh, welcome. Guys, enjoy your weekend. Do something fun.
Good night.
You too.
Yes.